Our next panelist is Tamara Vrooman. Now, Tamara is an executive officer of Vancity, Your Holiness. Vancity is Canada's largest community credit union, so this is a financial institution. She is recognized as an inspirational leader. She has a passion for delivering strong financial outcomes, yes, and at the same time, she has a passion and a vision for improving the social conditions of people and protecting the environment. She's especially committed to issues related to women and families and children. Tamara.
Your Holiness, it is indeed a great privilege to talk to you a bit about the role that the business community plays in the village in raising compassionate children and a caring society. And I personally am a banker, not usually a profession that is associated with compassion and values, unfortunately. But nonetheless, I believe that banking is a very important function because, you know, how we allocate capital and money today really dictates the kind of society we have in the future. And so the organization I am lucky enough to lead, Vancity Credit Union, we're one of the largest organizations in our region. We represent about 500,000 people, members. We have 2,500 employees. We have about $20 billion in assets that we manage on behalf of community. But we weren't always big. We started out quite small in 1946 with 14 people gathering around a kitchen table on the poor side of town in Vancouver, coming together to do for themselves what big banking institutions would not do. And that spirit of community and connectedness has really been the backbone of our organization. It's what's allowed us to be creative. It's what has allowed us to do things that other financial institutions wouldn't do. For example, we were the first financial institution in Canada to give a loan to a woman without requiring a man to co-sign it. Yeah, it's good. Oh, yeah. and that woman, she's still alive today, and she says that what it gave her to your teachings was the opportunity to create a stable home for her children, where she could concentrate on her career and her business and bring them up in the community that she felt most supported and connected to. And that's where sometimes we forget that the role of finance and business really is part of people's daily lives. We work hard. We give 30% of our profits back to communities each and every year. We fund many organizations that support children, the health and well-being of children. We're a great fan and supporter of Janet's organization, the YWCA. But we also know that in our own business, there's more that we can do to support children and to learn from children and youth. So we started something called Youth Credit Unions in schools. Children in grades 6 and 7, we encourage them to bring their own money together, to learn about the responsibility of money and understand that money doesn't only support us individually, it's a huge asset for community, and how it's deployed makes a big, big difference. And what those children teach us is they very quickly get the math, right? The interest rates, they're very fast. But what they start to ask is how we can get more money into the community, how we can do things creatively with money to support new programs, new ways of working. So they're very, very agile and community-based in their thinking. But what we see is that dissipates over time. Those same credit union members that are with us as young people, they may or may not stay with us as they get older. And while our organization thrives and we continue to grow and we're among the most successful in the country and the world, one of the things I observe is that as we get older, the values that we hold personally and that we sometimes knew as children, they dissipate. And so what I see with my own community and with business leaders So when I talk to our young staff people, they worry about how they can continue to bring their values into their work. And when I talk to business leaders, my colleagues who lead other kinds of businesses, they will tell me about the work they do at home, how they give back to community, how they donate to charities and philanthropy. But when I ask them why they don't bring those same values into their business, they look at me like I'm crazy. Those values don't belong in business, they'll say. But I guess our experience is that business is fundamentally a human endeavor, and that the allocation of money and business is ultimately to support the well-being of people and society. And the same individuals who hold values at home, those very same business leaders, those women and men, they seem to hold different values when they come to work and lead a business. So my question for you is, why do you think that is? Why is it that we can connect so personally with things that are important to us in our personal lives, but we aren't able to translate that or use that in our business and working lives?
As I already mentioned, you see, our society, very much, I think, the material oriented culture, oriented life. So compassion, sometimes you see in business or some other field, more aggressiveness is more effective. And cleverness, cunningness, also sometimes you see more successful. Honest, truthful, may not. But long run, the businessman also part of the society. A businessman or women may be very, very rich, but always you see, it's a hypocritical way, saying something nice, doing something different. And then eventually, society lose faith. The result, the person will feel lonely, very unhappy. Their money, or including the sort of diamonds of, I usually it's called the saying, the diamonds of the ring. When you feel very sad, like that, the diamond ring never show you effect. Affection. One dog, if you feel very, very unhappy, then at least they show that feeling expressed to that dog. That some kind of
response. So sort of a consolation.
So therefore, you see, eventually, I think aggressiveness sort of way of thinking, way of handling, maybe short term, successful. Effective. Long run, no. So all these, you see, short-sightedness and the lack of full conviction here. The more compassionate is the best way you get more friend, more trusted friend. So all these events. Directly in technology, innovation about computer, these things, purely sort of money matter, also you see, no direct sort of
Is always suggesting that you need to have a larger framework to understand the role of these values in that enterprise. For example, if you look at the invention of a new technology, in itself, it's very difficult to see the direct role of these values. But if you set that within the larger context, then you will be able to see.
I think basically, any activities which sort of carried by human being, for human being, ultimately motivation is the key factor. So motivation here, the compassionate motivation, is the right motivation. So that is called drisha, awareness.
If people can bring awareness of the larger context, then you begin to see the relationships.
However, I think late in early, say 19 and the previous 20th centuries, I think till very late among the business circle, I think very, very few who showing interest about warm-heartedness. Then later, even some sort of big company leader also is showing interest. And for business, a successful business, the customer or customer
Because a lot of the businesses, customer relations is a very key part of their success.
and also the employee.
And employee satisfaction.
All these, they work among the human being. So the company, big company, they are but transparent me trust you on there. They
So also companies are beginning to recognize, for example, if they are transparent in their financial reporting, then there's a greater tendency on the part of the customers to trust. Whereas if the financial statements are opaque and hidden, then gradually you lose trust. So these things are beginning to be appreciated.
Sometimes I sort of express, we are selfish, but the usual also the selfish approach is very narrow and actually fully selfish. So think well-being of other. It's actually best way to fulfill your wish, your interest. So more altruistic sort of attitude towards other. That's why selfish. So through education, backing with scientific research, why selfish is much better than fully selfish.